Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this night's edition of Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm here, you're here, and what I'd like you to do tonight, go ahead and put some conversation topics in the chat tonight. Uh, uh, not been well this weekend, been a little bit under the weather. So really didn't have a time to prepare like I usually do. So I really want to do a lot of talking tonight about what you guys want to talk about. But I do want to start off the night. Hope you guys like my new shirt my wife just got me. I got this top button buttoned up for a minute. So you can see, of course, Coco right here, Molly, my bad, Molly right here, Coco right here, and then of course the infamous Tucker Cox, candidate extraordinaire, Board of Education write-in candidate Tucker Cox right here. That's Molly Cox right there, and then that's the new addition, Coco Brown. So I really like getting these shirts. My wife gets them for me, and I enjoy them. I know anywhere I wear them, people love the shirts. They're always asking about them. And when you can get them on Amazon, they love going and getting them. But yeah, I like the Hawaiian shirts with my dogs on it. So something I like to do. So let me go ahead and say hello to some folks who have joined me this evening. Mary Boysworth, thanks, and Mary likes the shirt. Vuka Russo, thank you for joining. Cheryl Moulton, Charlotte Gellert, Justin Kinney, William Campbell, Marie Withers, Dan Burks, Pamela Swan Lowry. Thank you all for joining me this evening. And thanks for being loyal fans to the show. Uh, Tanya Wyatt, thanks for joining the show tonight. Thanks for joining in. I really appreciate you guys being loyal fans and listeners to the Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox show, where I believe you really do find information that you don't get a lot of places else in Rockdale County. I believe you get an opinion sometimes that you don't get anywhere else. Sarah Crawford, thanks and good evening. Welcome to the show. I think you get honesty and transparency on here, and that's what I think that we're missing a lot of times in society, and we're missing a lot of times in media today. I just don't think, and this is from the left or the right. I don't think you get transparency. I don't think you get honest conversation. I think you get slanted viewpoints one way or the other. Coach Sweets, good evening. Welcome to the show. Thanks, Sarah, for liking the shirt. Most people love the dog shirts. But thanks everybody. And that's what, my intention to do here is to bring you an unfiltered avenue. I can speak my mind, you can speak your mind, and it's unfiltered and nothing's off the table. Speak your mind. Talk to me about what you want to talk to me about. Let's hear some of the issues you want to discuss. Let's just bring them up and say it. George Kilichek, great for joining us. Brian Ingram, thanks for joining us tonight. Cheryl Moulton, yeah, it is great to see newer viewers. Kara Bassett, great to see her this evening. It's great to have new people show up, and I think they want to know what's going on with this show and what we're doing, and everything. I'm going to start off with letting you guys know a little something. It was very interesting, and it happened week before last, but I didn't talk about it last week. But I do want to talk about it this week, and I'm not going to really give too much. About that. So let me tell you what happened. It was like week before last. I had somebody reach out to me, and they are an accountant. They do forensic audits, and they have been reached out to by entities, Board of Education, Board of Commission, cities. I'm not going to say which one, but those are the only three that can do this, that opted out of 581. And this individual just wanted to hear my take on 581 and a few things. And then they told me the reason they really wanted to get a good feel about 581 and just some information. They had been asked by a couple of entities to do an audit to determine if they were given accurate information when making their decision to opt out of 581. These entities felt that they had been given skewed information and misinformation when making their decision to opt out of 581. Now, I don't know what entities it is. I did not ask, to be real. But I find it after the fact, when you've got all these citizens upset at these entities for opting out, now they're looking to find a scapegoat in the tax commissioner's office, right? So that they can no, it's not true. A forensic audit will not hurt your credit score. That's not accurate. So, but well, don't you find it amazing? They opt out. Now they want to blame somebody for them opting out. Can you believe that? Right? So, yeah, let's opt out. Then we'll go ahead and say we were tricked into opting out. That is that's ridiculous. Charlotte, that's here in Rockdale County. There are a lot of other entities that opted out throughout the state of Georgia. So there could have been other entities elsewhere. This was not Rockdale County that they were doing the audit with. This was entities that already had opted out and they felt they were given misinformation. And it was not just one, but it was a couple that were doing that, right? So you've got entities that were they opted out. Now they want to push back and blame somebody else because you know why? Let me tell you why they want to do that. Because they know their constituents are going to vote them out. That's exactly, and then they want to say, well, don't vote me out. I was tricked. Let me tell you what, you need to be voted out even quicker, coming up with this lame excuse that you were tricked into opting out. If you are that gullible and you were actually tricked into opting out, you don't need to be serving as a commissioner or a city council member or a member of the Board of Education anyway. So Sarah Crawford, our family is new here to Rockdale County. Let me go ahead and put that up here. I want to read this out. Okay. Our family is new here to Rockdale County from Indiana, just trying to learn more about the community around here, being here close to 2 years and and so much negative we hear, but we need to know more positively and what maybe we can do to help be a part of it. And I'm grateful that you're deciding to do that because everything is not bad in Rockdale County, right? I do not know why your comments aren't showing up, Michelle. I've got the chat share on, so I do not have any idea why they are not showing up because I do have the chat share on, and I am seeing everyone's comments come across my screen at this moment. But yes, Sarah, tune in more often to the show. Oh, now they are. That's good, and you'll get more insight as to what's going on. Usually, I report on a lot more things and a lot more happenings. Like I said, I've been under the weather this weekend. My wife had got sick Friday, and I followed shortly behind there that evening. And Clayton, thanks for joining. He says he admits to being tardy, but you know what, Clayton, I give you a hall pass, so you're good. And then that's the way that works. But yeah, I think you're going to find that Rockdale, like any community, has its uniqueness. We have our strengths and our positives, and I am one who believes that Rockdale County is a community that's worth investing in, and it's a community that if we don't give up on Rockdale, then we can see Rockdale through the other side. Yeah, Tom Harrison, thanks for joining the show tonight. Michelle, yeah, I've talked about the shirt earlier. Like I said, that's my dog's at the top. This is Coco right here. That's Molly right there, and then that's the infamous Tucker Cox, who is, like I said, Tucker was a write-in candidate for school board. Tucker got a few hundred votes. Very proud of him. Tucker says he's not done running. He's going to run for something else. Uh, he's top notch. I was standing out there holding some signs when we were running last year, and somebody raised their rolled their window down. I thought they were going to yell at me, and they throwed the fist up in the air and they said Team Tucker. Now I didn't get anybody to yell Team Larry or anything while I was running, but my man Tucker, got somebody to roll the window down, do a fist pump, and say Team Tucker. That's what it is. And Mary Boysworth, things are starting to get more positive in Rockdale County, and I see that myself, right? We are Justin. We are Rockdale. We will succeed. And Charlotte says, run for the PCS. We need lower utility bills. You know what? That may be something that we can get Tucker Cox to run for. Is the Public Service Commission. I'll have a discussion with him. We'll see. We'll see where his heart's at. But Tucker Cox is a Rockdale Countyan. I mean, he's born and raised in Rockdale County, and I just do not know if he'll support anything other than Rockdale County. So, we'll have a conversation with him. But Tucker's heart lies in Rockdale County. We'll see what he says. I don't have any faith in that. So, Michelle, I want to put this comment up here. I am so discouraged by the people who are on social media blasting our new leaders, blaming them for whatever that was done before they were elected. How do we get through to them? You're not going to get through to individuals who are on social media blaming the people who just got elected for things. They most likely are individuals who did not support the new people. They supported the old regime, and they are going to do everything that they can to criticize and downplay any of the successes that any of the new elected officials have, so that they can get people back in office who behave more like we had seen in the past. Now you got to remember, some people benefit from the behavior that we had in the past. And Dan Burks, I agree with that. We need to survive the courthouse admin building and agree with that. That's something we need to get through and survive. It's not the best thing for Rockdale County. It puts us in a tough financial situation, but I think we do need to find ways through that. And I think that's one of the things we need to demand of our board, since they decided they're going to go ahead and go through this. Now they need to tell us how we're going to go through weather this and get to the other side, because they'll even admit to you that the county is in financial straits and not able to borrow money, and the maxed out credit. So they need to explain to the shareholders, the citizens, the voters of Rockdale County, how do we continue this project but yet get through the other side. And that's something I think that we do need to press this administration on and find out. And I think I really think we do need to do that. So I'm hopeful that they'll be sharing those plans, because they do need to say, we're doing this project, but this is how we're going to do this project. This is how we're going to minimize the impact that it's going to have on this community. And I think that's something that we need. We need to know. Do I think we can survive it? Yes. Do I think it's something we should not even have to navigate? That's also a yes. I felt it's something we should not have had to navigate. Keith Bone, just saw your comment. Thank you very much, Keith. And I couldn't do what I do if I didn't have supporters like you, Keith, and the other supporters that are watching the show tonight, if I didn't have people in Rockdale County that support my efforts of making Rockdale better and actually supporting the show and listening to this show and being supporters of Rockdale County. Um, I think I remember years ago you had the commission and they would complain when people would come and they would talk about Rockdale County and they would talk about, well, can't you find one good thing to say about Rockdale County? I could always find something good to say about Rockdale County, but what I had a hard time back then doing was finding anything good to say about the leadership of Rockdale County. Um, and that's what I think they needed to understand back at that era is the citizens that live here. They love this community, but they didn't love the direction that our elected officials were taking or took this community. And it took them a long. They never figured it out. That's why you had to take the action that you did. Michelle Spivey, why is the cafeteria over at the school administration building closing? Now that cafeteria is closing because I believe it's not making any money. It's been losing money every year that it's been open, and sort of hard to keep something operating if it's losing money. So that's what my understanding of that is. Then I do want to put Mary's comment up here too, right? Larry, your show has introduced me to so many people, and because of it, I have gained a lot of new friends in Rockdale County. And my wife and I, we don't go anywhere that people don't come up to me and they're talking to me, and and it's like they know me, and some I know, and a lot of sometimes I don't know you, but you'll introduce me and yourself, and you say, I know you don't know me, Larry, but I watch your show. And that's what I've talked to Beth about, and I've told her, I said, just been doing the show so long that people see you on the air and they see you there, and they just have developed this relationship with you, and that's why they bonded and they've connected with you, so they have the perception of that they know you because you're real with them. You're on every week. We don't miss a week. So I mean, there's very very few weeks that we have missed. We've been doing a show since 2018. We started out doing This Week in Rockdale with our good friend Alex McDonald. Alex and I went. Alex decided he didn't want to do a local show anymore, so in 2020 he kept the This Week in Rockdale show, and I rebranded to the This Week from Rockdale. And then last year, I decided to rebrand totally from This Week from Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox show, because people were getting confused about the in Rockdale, from Rockdale, and they were getting confused about Alex and I. So I decided to do a clean break, rebrand the show, Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. No doubt about who it is or who I am. So that we have a clear understanding of who the person is behind the show. And then we have a clear understanding of anytime you see anything from This Week in Rockdale, that's my friend Alex McDonald, who runs, and he does a great job with that network, the This Week in Rockdale network. He does some great exposés and things. So Alex does a great job with that show, and and he's got his national show that he does, TPS Report. And that's the reason Alex doesn't do a weekly local show, is because he wanted to focus more on the national level with the TPS Report. And I get that's where his heart had lied. It was laying at that time. And I wanted to really focus on local, and just more than just local, Rockdale County local. And, occasionally I'll speak about Newton County or Henry, or I'll dive out a little bit and speak, and occasionally a statewide issue. But if I talk about a statewide issue, most likely it's got an impact on Rockdale County. So if I speak on a state issue, it's a state issue that's going to impact where we live. It's going to impact Rockdale County. And then sometimes I will speak on things that are happening uh, 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 in neighboring counties, just so we have an idea of what our neighbors are up to and such. Because sometimes important things are happening next door, and and we need to be aware of them. But yeah, I mean, it's very. I think we're in very exciting times in Rockdale County. And we talked about this a few weeks ago about what your vote did and how the landscape of Rockdale County has changed because of the involvement of citizens here in Rockdale County, and we decided to educate each other. Now, isn't that amazing? Because you had a former chairman that kept saying, "I'm going to educate you. I'm going to educate you," and all that educating was lecturing. You got lectured because you didn't think the way that they thought, and you didn't agree with their direction or vision for Rockdale County. When those individuals didn't listen to the vision the people who moved here, already had for your community. And that's what I think is the most important thing that we need to know is the residents of a community have a vision for their community. And it's up for the elected officials in that community to listen to uh, to the citizens, and then to carry out that vision that the citizens are letting them know that already exists in the community. If these elected officials would have listened to this community, we wouldn't be building this courthouse and this parking garage right now, because it's not something the citizens wanted in Rockdale County. It's just not. It's not what the it's not what the people who are paying the bills actually wanted. And you had individuals push something on them that they didn't want. And Catherine Lynn, 100%, I'll put that up to, is uh, listen to, not to dictate. And that's exactly what I think we were happening here. Is we had individuals say, well, "I'm going to educate you." There was no educating; it was lecturing and dictating to. That's what it was. And what happened through that is you had groups of individuals uh, came together as a community, uh, and they began to share ideas. They began to share visions. They began to support people who had those visions and ideas and were like minded. And that's where we've gotten to at this point. And as long as the individuals continue to listen to you, the citizens, the, the citizens of Rockdale County, then Rockdale future. I believe we have a robust, bright future ahead of us. Now, do I think we're going to get some of these big stores and things that people want to come to Rockdale County? No, I do not think we're going to, because again, we are Rockdale County. We're a small community, and we're gonna get the things that small communities get. Okay, and but most people who move here, they realize that, and that's why they've moved here. Joy Powers, thanks for joining the show this evening. Uh, Glad you're here. But that's what we need to realize, right? Rockdale County is a unique community nestled in the metro Atlanta area. With us being 100% on board with 581, the city, the county, and the Board of Education, we have set ourselves up to be in a unique situation at this point. And like I said, and some of you may not have been on, I talked about um, an auditor that reached out to me and was one, and a couple of entities have reached out to them wanting them to do a forensic audit on the tax assessor's offices of the individuals who gave them their data to actually opt out of 581 because they think the data was skewed or misrepresented. Um, and that's one of the things I think we said all along, that we didn't think that they would be able to give us accurate data, that we felt that this was a wait and see, that we felt we would be able to come out the other side kind of thing. And then, and we rolled the dice, and we'll see what happens, right? That's all we can do is roll the dice and see what happens. Because, you know, to paint the doom and gloom scenario was not healthy. Paint doom and gloom was not something that people wanted to hear. But that's the way we go. I think that I think we're up in the air with some things, and we'll see how everything turns out. So, is there anything else anybody wants to chat about this evening? You guys have put a lot of comments up here this evening. Cheryl says, I'll go ahead and put that out there. Cheryl says, I think the sheriff could be a little bit more transparent as well, and that's not the first time I've heard that, and it won't be the last time I've heard that. But we all got to look. Sheriff Levitt won in 2012, won in 2016, won in 2020, and won in 2024. So we've got a sheriff that has won 4 elections in Rockdale County, and none of them been close. So just saying. Sheriff's got a lot of support out there. So, I mean, I don't think he's got any reason to think he has to do anything differently when you're a 4-term sheriff. And that's reality, right? So Charlotte says there were a lot of activities this last Saturday. Who went to what? I didn't go to anything because I wasn't feeling well. I was supposed to go to something Friday evening. My wife wasn't feeling well, and I just started feeling not well a little bit later on. Dan, the Department of Education thing is a federal thing, and we won't talk about something like that until it actually starts impacting the Department of the Rockdale County Education. And when it starts having impact, we'll talk about how it impacts on a local level. But I don't really want to talk about a hypothetical. And I do want to really keep the show local and not go into national politics, because that is a national politics thing. Tom Harrison, more attention needs to be given to the north end of the county. Tom, I've always been in agreement with that I have felt actually the north end and the south end of the county need more attention. I believe Central Rockdale is very well attended, very well looked over, very well looked at. And the south and north ends of Rockdale County have always been those portions that have went and have been ignored. Cheryl says, let me see here. They went to the Cajun Beats and Eats, and it was fun and tasty. So I did know they were having that out at the horse park this weekend, because I did attend the Cherry Blossom last weekend. So we've got 2 other things going here. Let's see, Kelly, how's the new interim superintendent of school doing? Miss Chesser is doing fine, in my opinion, and she drops that interim title Tuesday and becomes the superintendent of Rockdale County Schools. Miss Chesser has received a 14-month contract from the Rockdale County School Board and will be the superintendent of Rockdale County schools moving forward on a permanent basis with a 14-month contract starting April the 1st. And how about, here we got from Alan James. How about pay versus the cost of living in Rockdale County? And there is a very big disparity there, because you've got some very wealthy people who live in Rockdale County, and you've got some people who are not very wealthy who live in Rockdale County. And I don't think there's a lot of in between. You do all recall that Rockdale County and Newton County were 2 of the counties that received status as poverty counties, which qualified both school systems for all their students to get free lunch. So to get that, you had to, a certain percent of the community had to be designated as high poverty. So Rockdale County nationwide is considered a high poverty area. So, um, so you know, like I said, there's no in between in Rockdale County. There are people who are pretty well off, do really well for themselves, and then there are people who don't and fall in that poverty line, and not a lot of people in between. And that's the reality of what we have here in Rockdale County. And I've talked to several individuals who own properties and do rental in Rockdale County, and they have said that part of that issue with that is, you've got homes that should be renting for $1,200, $1,300 that rent for $2,300, $2,400. And it's because of what we've done with taxes over the last 4 or 5 years. And with those values going up, those landlords had to go up on rent to actually cover those monthly tax bills. So Tom, the split in the planning departments where I am encouraged with the selection of Lawson Gardner as the new planning director. We qualified, well qualified, so I am willing to give her an opportunity to prove herself. That's good. Tom thinks that's going to work out. The William Campbell says the city of Conyers drags the average down. And Cheryl says she's glad to hear what Tom had to say. No, Charlotte, it is not a percent of the students' families. It actually is the county itself, it's the county itself that has to fall within that to get that grant. But that grant does not come within the Department of Education. So that is actually a Department of Agricultural grant, and it is a grant that is for high poverty areas. Went and researched and read that grant, and that grant legislation, and it is for high poverty areas, not districts or people that are in the school system. It is the overall area that qualifies. So, yep, there we go. Catherine Lynn replying to George Carrick. George, they have a building permit posted also. Be sure to check that out. That's some sort of building permit. So, yeah. So I think we got to look. Rockdale County, we're not out of the woodwork, but we're doing well. And then I saw Samantha Swaney had commented about Miss Chesser, and she said, "Love Miss Chesser." And I really do think as Miss Chesser gets into this position and starts implementing more things and is actually working with the board. And then that's one thing I have just found, that Miss Chesser really is working with the board. And that's something that I really, really do like, that there's that sharing information, sharing knowledge, right? And sharing ideas. And as a team, when we work together, we can be more successful as a team, because when you put yourself on an island and you run something from an island, then you don't get buy-in from everybody else's, because you get to run back to your island and don't get to hear the reality of what's going on. Kelly is not only Rockdale qualified for the poverty, but Newton County also. Newton County also qualified for every child gets free lunch, because they qualify as a high poverty area. And that's what, it is. But yeah, I'm really excited about the school system and what's happening here and what's going to go on. And I think you guys will too. I think you guys are going to really be happy with the progress you're going to see in the Rockdale County public school system. And I think you're going to be excited about the trends that happen and how that impacts everybody. Another county, city item for both to find solutions for is creating housing better suited for lower incomes, tiny house. And this is the thing about I think I was at a meeting the other day, and they said like you couldn't build anything under 1,600 squares in Rockdale County. And that's what we were talking about. It just does not, when you define a tiny house, doesn't have to be something that's 400 or 500 square feet. It could be 1,000 square feet or 1,200 square feet if you're a couple, or like 3 people, 4 people. 1,200, 1,400 square feet would be plenty for for that many people. Um, but I think when we say it's got to be X number of square feet and it's larger, there's sometimes where we maybe don't do ourselves justice. And then when I think we talk about tiny homes, Tom, I think we need to define the fact that a lot of people, when they think of uh, tiny, when we were at that board of commission meeting the other day, Tom, they said 1,600 square is what they said. And we may need to get them to clarify that, but they said you couldn't build under 1,600 square in the county, maybe 1,200 in the city. But I know our county commissioners there said 1,200, 1,600 square is what they said. So maybe we need to get a clarification. But I really think when people are concerned that you're going to put these 300 and 400 square feet square feet places up, and just a bunch of that little stuff going around. And I'm gonna be honest, I would not be a fan of that either. I would not be a fan of having these little small one room things go up here and there or whatever. I mean, I wouldn't, being honest. 1,000 squares, 800, 900 squares, perfectly fine. But you get down to that 450 thing. Don't know if I'm a fan of that or not, right? So um and Mary said we need smaller homes for seniors to downsize. I agree 1,000%. And are we getting new students yet? Our enrollment is up from last year, and it's trending in the right direction. I will say our enrollment is trending in the upward direction at this point, and we'll see how that sustains through the end of the school year. But as of now, those numbers are looking good, and they're trending in an upward direction. Charlotte says tiny homes should be zoned to a certain area, and I think I think we need to see what we define as tiny homes is. Tom, I'm not saying that I'm just discounting. I'm not a fan, right? So if it's something that I personally would have to vote for, I wouldn't vote for it. Okay, just being real, right? I don't think I like 450, 500 square feet little houses. I think I draw the line at about 1,000 squares. That's just me personally. But like I said, that's a community decision. It's not a Larry Cox decision, and it depends on where we would put them. Uh, I think that's what we would need to look at the end of the day, right? So Catherine, hopefully the gut of town starting at 300K those were never affordable, and I don't, they were those were pipe dream homes, right? They were thinking the Rivian thing was coming, and all those employees, and I mean that was people would say what they want, and they built those because they were projecting. Those were built on the projection of something coming next door. People would want to not drive that far, and they would buy those places to work there. I mean, that's just what I was thinking, right? So no. Uh, so we'll see what's going on with all that, right? I don't I don't know. I do not have high hopes for all those townhomes and apartments that we built. I really don't. Um, I don't think that we're going to have a good solution. So Janie Jones, I do want to put Janie's comment up here because it trends right with I've been saying. Uh, Hello, Larry. Hopefully, our school enrollment will continue trending upward and we can continue to share the positive things that are happening in our schools. And I, agree with Janie wholeheartedly, right? And then that's what we want to do. We want these trends to continue, and we want to continue. Catherine, yes, but we're going to be stuck with them, and that's an unfortunate thing. Yes. So, and I think Janie's thing come up again. So yeah, I mean, so we're doing some unique things here in this county, and Janie, thanks for the comment about that. I mean, and that's what I want everybody to know. Things are trending upward. Things are looking good. I mean, I am really really optimistic about what's happening with the Rockdale County Public School System. Optimistic about what direction I see the Rockdale County Board of Commission going in. Uh, and I, and I just hope the city stays course. I think the city actually needs to do a little bit of course correction and change a little bit toward how the county's seeing things. When we talk about these townhomes, guys, and we talk about these apartments, the majority of them were built in the city. They were built in the city limits. So hopefully, if they do split this zoning thing up, Tom, and I'm going to be a little critical, hopefully the city will get the message that everybody else has been giving everybody else, and they will stop this townhome development. They will stop this apartment nonsense, because they're the most guilty of this, and that's the reality. And they get by with a lot of this because the county would take the blunt and the blame and the hits and the attacks, and the city was just as guilty in this as and they were guiltier because there's more of them there, and they've got to take responsibility for the direction which we went in housing in the last 5 or 6 years, because the city led the charge, and that's reality. That's the reality. But I think as people are beginning to see what this has meant and how the people have reacted, I think that that they need to to do some things. So Samantha Sweeney, I want to put your comment out there first. I am too. I have such great feeling about our town. James Allen. James, I have had people reach out to me privately, talk to me about some of the transportation thing, right? But we've had a lot of activity going on with the school system and the classrooms and things like that. So the transport part is something that I want to look into and talk with my fellow board members and the superintendent about, and see what's actually going on there, and what attention we need to give that. But we've had a few things that demanded our attention at this time. And again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board at this time, speaking on my personal behalf. Is I think that we will move forward and get into a lot more, a lot of different things as we move on, and as we go from one priority to the next priority to the next priority. So that's what I would like you to say. So that's what I want to let you know, that is definitely on the horizon, is looking into many different things, and because we don't want to leave any rock unturned, right? No rock unturned, no complaint or concern left unturned either. That all concerns need to be looked into, and I firmly believe that. So you got my word that as an elected person in Rockdale County, I will do my best to make sure that I personally look into things and then share what findings I find with the rest of my colleagues. So you do have my word that will happen. So just want to thank you guys for bringing it. And it's been a lively conversation. About what's going on, and I'm glad that you guys have joined in. Um, and it's always great to have people to join in and do these kind of shows and this interaction. And a lot of you guys are new, right? A lot of you guys that are making comments tonight and being interactive, you're new to the show and you don't usually come on and make comments. So great to have you. Great that you've come on the show. Great that you're being interactive. Great that you're sharing your concerns and your voice, and you're bringing about new issues that we need to look into and dive into. And what more could we ask for than with a community platform like the Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox? And that's what each of you have been able to do this evening. Speak your mind and throw your concerns out there. And that's what this show is about. This show is about you being able to come on this show, speak your mind. But not only that, once you put these concerns out here, you have individuals that are watching this show that they can't just let it go. Once you make a complaint, then they have to look into it. They've got to see what's going on, with that. Ms. Russo, yeah, the town hall things. I was asked to involve the rest of the board and the superintendent with that, and I was giving everybody a little bit of time to transition since we've had the switch over with Ms. Cheshire going from interim to superintendent starting in April. So I would like probably sometime in April to have a town hall, and I will announce it on the show when we're going to do that. But I do want to continue the town hall series, but we just wanted to make sure that, again, a lot of things going on, and didn't want to put the cart before the horse. Made sure we got through a few important things that we were dealing with, and then institute or implement some things that we said we were going to. And I mean, even if excuse me, even if it doesn't work out and the rest of the board and the superintendent can't participate, I will still have the town halls. So that's something that we're going to do. But I was asked to put a pause to let everybody participate, and that's what I'm doing. But I won't wait forever, right? You guys know me. I'm a person of action. I'll wait the appropriate time period, begin to organize, and if people aren't really hyped about it or wanting to do it, that's what I'll do, because I promised you guys the town halls, and that's what we're going to do. Well, guys, it's 8:51, and you know what? I've been on this thing here for 50 minutes now, and that's long enough. You've all got to put a lot of information out here. I've got to put a lot of information out here, and we've got to speak our mind. And I've just enjoyed every minute of it, speaking my mind with you and listening to you speak your mind and throwing ideas out there and putting information out there for people to see. So let's meet here again next Sunday at 8 p.m. And just so you guys know, I might be out of town and it might be a remote show. So we'll see how that goes, right? So be out of town, be a remote show. We'll see how this goes. And if I may have to do it on my phone if I can't get the laptop up and running. But we'll see what happens. But we look forward to next Sunday, 8 p.m. Speak Your Mind with Larry Cox. Be prepared to share your ideas and speak your mind. Thank you, everyone. And I can't wait till next Sunday to see each and every one of you. Thanks and good night.